you were mentoring a junior dev today, would you teach them how to code or how to prompt?
I will teach them how to code because um, understanding how to code in itself would help you understand how to prompt better.
Today Africa Podcast is a podcast series where we interview African entrepreneurs and professionals and share the stories behind their businesses. In each interview, we ask how they got started, how they grew, and how they run their business today. The stories are inspiring and also provide specific advice and insight into starting a business. By sharing these stories, we want to help others get started.
Welcome to Today Africa Podcast, a series of conversation with African entrepreneurs, business leaders, professionals, and change makers who are shaping the future of the continent. And don't forget to like, share, and comment on our content on social media at Today Africa, and head over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel at Today Africa Studios. Joining me today is Olamide Ilori. He's the lead engineer at Prospa. And Prospa is a fintech startup that is supporting small businesses here in Nigeria. Olamide, you're welcome.
Yeah, hi, Chukwemeka. It's nice to be here. Good to see you.
Tell us more about yourself and the moment you fell in love with code.
My name is Olamide Ilori, and I'm a front-end engineer by profession. I've been doing this for a while, and I currently work as a lead engineer front-end at Prospa. And I think I've always been someone who has had an eye for technology growing up, even though at that point I really didn't know what aspect of technology was going to be. I've always liked to solve problems. I've always liked to fix things. I've always had um, this strong will to always try to make things work and create solutions for people. Initially, I tilted more towards electrical engineering and stuff like that growing up. I've always wanted to be one, but as time went by and I've been introduced to quite a number of things in technology, I kind of like find myself tilt towards digital technology part of things. So my love for solving problems, my love for helping people solve problems, especially when it comes to financial solutions and all, I think those are some of the things that drove me into technology really.
Let's talk about your background. You studied computer science. So, what made you lean towards front end engineering and not full stack or back end?
I think I had my fair share of full stack engineering at some point, even though I didn't really go full time on full stack. I've always done more front end engineering, but I do have knowledge doing stuff on the back end. So I primarily chose to um, tilt towards front end engineering because I kind of like prefer to just focus on a niche. I believe that I can be very good, excellent, not actually good, excellent in one thing rather than trying to do a lot. It's not like I can't, but then I feel like the more focus I am on a particular track, I think that would be better for me. It keeps my focus in one place. It makes, and I think that has been evident in my career so far. I think it has really accelerated my growth, being able to focus on just one thing at a time without having to be distracted by several other things that goes on in the industry because front end engineering as in its own itself is quite broad. So focusing on front end instead of doing full stack on a full time, I think has helped me focus on one thing at a time.
A lot of people read computer science here in Nigeria and they are finding it difficult, breaking into the industry. So, how did you break into the industry?
Well, I think for those of us that are fortunate, let me use the word to study courses like practical courses like computer science in the university, I think we have our fair share of what we've gone through. We all know it's all theories and sometimes outdated stuffs that's inside the syllabus. So I think one way for someone who is looking to do that is to understand that you kind of like on your own. The computer science degree you are taking essentially just gives you like a degree, but doesn't give you as much as you should be having as someone who anyone who intends to like have an actual career in technology. So it comes from a place of taking ownership of your career, your life, your life as in general, and that starts from learning things outside of the classroom, really, because that's what does it. That's what has done it for most of us that have come from the computer science background. Being able to go beyond what has been taught in school, go beyond what has been done in class, do the extra work, looking for solutions, looking for ideas, knowledge that can help you. I think that played a very key role in my transitioning from just someone who studied computer science to someone who is making impact in the technology field.
Let's talk about your role in Prospa. You led the engineering and the member dashboard at Prospa. So, what was the biggest performance breakthrough that you delivered, and how did it shape the business operation?
I think I will draw this from the standpoint of the problem Prosper is trying to fix. We are a new bank for African entrepreneurs, and for anyone who owns a business in this part of the world, can attest to how difficult it is to get a business account registered in your business name. The hassle, the documentation, even as a regular, a personal bank holder in traditional banking in Nigeria, you know how much documentation you would do across several banks. You know how much back and forth you would be involved in and stuff like that. So now coming to the talk of a business account, a lot of process goes into it, and sometimes it doesn't even give you the value you want. So that's one of the things that Prosper. That's one of the solutions that problems that Prosper is fixing. Is fixing. Yeah. So for me, I think I being able to being able to be a part of that vision has really helped. And when it comes to the product I did build, which was one of my earliest product at Prosper, that has helped the business operation in general. So Prosper is basically a bank that allows you to open a business account in 5 minutes, as opposed to how long it takes going through a traditional bank. So the dashboard in itself has been able to help the business to achieve this, such that approving of accounts, documentation, following or making as also ensuring that we are in line with regulations and stuff like that. This dashboard has provided all these tools out of the box and has enabled the business to really achieve one of the key features that it preaches, which is being able to approve your account in no time, under 5 minutes, as opposed to taking long time when you go through the traditional route.
Let's talk about the role of front end engineering plays. So, what role does front end engineering play in building trust for a fintech platform like Prosper in Nigeria?
Well, I think in Nigeria, in the market Nigeria, where digital finance adoption is still maturing, so the front end is often like the first and even most times really point of contact that a user has to the brand. So it's not just about the beautiful UI, really. It's about trust, because you know how difficult it is to get trust, and the front end being the face of the platform has a lot to tell on how the product is scale. So the visual clarity of the load speed, the feedback responsiveness, intuition, and a lot of things that come in to make that page really tells the user how much they can trust the platform. So having a really reliable front end to your product really gives the user, your members or your users, the a very good first impression, because imagine coming onto a platform and then from the front end UI you are beginning to see some inconsistencies, some things are out of place, things are not beginning to work the way they are. I think that would really put a user off, and then in turn would affect how much growth the business can experience.
A lot of people confuse front end engineering, UI, UX. So, what's the difference between a front end engineer and a UI, UX designer?
They're actually quite very distinct field. So as a front end engineer, I think from the name front end engineering, UI UX designer. So I think let me just explain this by walking through like a very simple process of how you would build a digital product, for instance. So it all starts from trying to understand the market, trying to do research, trying to get to know who your customers are, trying to get to know how your customers will want to use your product. So that's where the research, that's the research that starts everything. And then after that, it goes through trying to mock up a user interface that is based off this research that has been carried out. How, in terms of the user flow, the user journey, what would you like the user to do first when they come to the platform? Do you like them to do some verification? Do you like them to do this? Where would you like to put? So that's more like the experience part. So in terms of the UI, what are the things that has to do with the typography, the color based on what the brand has chosen to do. So all this part I just mentioned, the research, the design, the user journey and stuff like that are being handled by um, design UI UX designers, and they mostly use tools like Figma, Adobe XD, and so on and so forth to mock up user interface for the front end engineers to build on. So now after this process comes in, the front end engineer comes in. So we now what we do is to take these designs, this user flow experience and stuff that has been developed by that's been designed by the designers, and then we turn this into an actual application. So it's more or less like they draw the blueprint and why we kind of like build the structure.
You are a senior engineer, you are a lead engineer at Prosper. So how do you balance speed of delivery with code quality and performance?
I think in my own case, what I tend to focus on is to focus on the critical part of the product. um, we all know you can't do everything at the same time and you can't do everything at once. So that's where we priority comes into play. What are the most critical part of this product? What are the most critical aspect of this application? So I think trying so being able to map out. That's why there's something we call MVP, which basically stands for minimum viable product. So for every product, for every feature I build, I kind of like look at it from this standpoint. What are the key components that are required for this product to be what to achieve what it's supposed to achieve? So not really not the needs, not the nice to have, but the critical part of the product. So being able to break down my product into different deliverables helps with the speed because I don't have to do so much at the same time. Yeah. So being able to break this down now can allow me to be able to build as fast as I want to build without having to, the more you have to build, the difficulty might be for you to give quality. So it's more or less of a thing of quality over quantity. So breaking them down into smaller chunks and then building with speed and quality on these smaller chunks rather than wanting to do so lot and then trying to achieve speed and quality because all of these are important to a product, both the speed, the quality. You need to kind of like prioritize, you need to give each of them equal attention. And the way you can be able to give speed and quality attention is if you take them one after the other without wanting to do everything at the same time.
Let's talk about Prosper and the work you do at Prosper, which is helping what we, the user, sees. So, what's one design that makes Prosper products more inclusive to Nigeria small business owners?
So Prosper as a product has come to like, unlike most products you see out there, Prosper is a product that kind of like supports its users. So we don't just want you to come and use the platform and then we charge and we take charges and stuff like that. We want to actually see your business grow. So it's more of a partnership rather than from the standpoint of just building a product. So we're in a partnership with you. We give you all the necessary tools that you need to scale your business. So we don't just want you to come and then we are charging you for services and stuff like that. But instead, we want to actually listen to the problems that your business is facing, so that we can actually help you solve this business, even beyond just things that the app offers. Partner does a lot of partnership with businesses in terms of giving the business visibility, in terms of sharing resources that can help scale the business, raise fund, and so on and so forth. So it's more of a partnership of Prosper as opposed to just providing a financial service.
People provide tools that helps in the growth of the business. So, can you list these tools?
Some of them include invoicing, being able to create invoice and send out to your customers or your clients, being able to invite team members or your team members in your business so that they can be able, you can assign roles and permissions to them for them to also manage the business and stuff like that. We also provide the basic one, which is still regular financial services, being able to send and receive money. Also, we allow you to create a business account in your business name, and also give you the ability to be able to have sub accounts under this main business account, so that gives you a way to manage your finances better. You could group your inflows in different sub accounts. Once you want to use to pay out clients, once you would like to use to pay salary, once you like to use to pay tax, and so on and so forth, all under a single app. And a lot of other features like web store where your users can purchase stuff from, and then you get paid and settled into the Prosper app. Also stuffs around spend management, virtual cards, loans that allows you to loan up to a certain amount of money based on your credit score, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot of interesting features that the product provides.
So how have your engineering decisions directly influenced growth at Prosper, whether in user acquisition, retention, or revenue?
When it comes to my decision influencing, I think that's really helped like the general um, product growth, because being able to make some key decision as to I think this even goes just beyond a technical aspect. So for the technical aspect, for instance, being able to decide on infrastructures that the product should be built on, because that tells a lot as to how the product would perform technically. There are a couple of initiatives that I've run that has really helped the business to save cost of operations. Taking for instance, I think there was a time we built we kind of like used to rely heavily on external services to manage customer support, which was quite expensive for the business. Being able to architect the creation of a tool that manages ticketing internally helped the business really cut costs, running costs, and then those funds were channeled into other important part of the business. So being able to save costs, being able to make sure that the product does what it's supposed to do, that's really helped shape the product in general.
You have helped to grow the Prosper platform and the team. So what did you do differently to make both scale sustainably?
I think it all comes down to good communication between um, the team and the goal of the product, making sure that everyone understands what the vision of this product is, and through constant communication and even product thinking. So, and also we being able to, so like I said, being able to communicate this vision, this roadmap to engineers that work on this project, has given better clarity as to the direction, and has given a clearer roadmap of how we can arrive at the goal we are trying to arrive at. So also being able to like invest in engineering onboarding and documentation, allowing our engineers to really understand what is expected of them, and how they can help us to achieve this. So this means that with when new engineers come on board, there are in their first week they are able to pick up a lot of things that would help speed up the process of understanding how we intend to go about achieving the goal we want to achieve.
Prosper support thousands of business owners and entrepreneurs. So how does your team gather and use feedback to shape product direction?
Getting feedback firsthand from our members. One way we've done this, and so there's a series we Prosper runs, which is called like member stories, for instance. So it's a sit down with actual users of Prosper, actual business owners that use Prosper to support their business. So having this discussion with them where they share their business story, the challenges they face in their business, and even the reason why they settle to use Prosper, and whatever features they like most. Being able to have like a close and direct communication with those that actually use the product has really helped us gather feedback even before they become an issue for us. So having a closely knit relationship, like I said, there's always been a partnership right from time. So we are able to get first-hand real insights as to how and what we need to do to make the product better.
So, what's your vision for how engineering at Prosper and other fintech here in Nigeria or other African countries could shape financial inclusion over the next 5 years?
In this part of the world, being able to understand that sometimes some of the users we are building for don't really have access to sophisticated devices, don't really have access to um, good internet. So building a product, a solution that requires minimal architecture to run in terms of the devices they run on, how optimized these platforms are such that even someone who has a very poor internet connection can still be able to be to use the product which kind of like drive inclusion. I think that in itself in terms of like building technically would really help include more people in this journey of trying to like drive inclusion across the continent. Also, being able to build trust as well, because one thing is that a lot of people don't at this point, which where fintech in Africa is still maturing. A lot of people at this point don't really have full on trust for fintech companies compared to traditional banks, especially the fact that probably a lot of them don't have as much physical branches as traditional banks do have. So being able to gain their trust that they can actually use our platforms without problem. And one way we can do that is making sure that whatever product, whatever features we ship out does what it's supposed to do with little or no bugs at all. Giving the users of this platform of this product the making them trust in what we are building would really drive their adoption such that a lot of people will begin to jump on the bandwagon, and then fintech is not really an alien like it is currently now, and people will see more people trusting um, what we do rather than trying to stay away because they really lack trust for the industry.
You have grown in the space. Now you are a lead engineer. So when you hit a tough bug or a deadline slip, what kind of mindset helps you push through?
Well, I think when it comes to facing challenges, yeah, personally for me, I always try to focus more on progress over pride. And what I'm trying to say with that is that knowing when to ask for help really has really helped me. Understanding that no one is an island of knowledge, and then there are certain times when you would need people, be it from your team, be it from colleagues in the industry generally, collaborating with them such that they help you get past whatever solution, asking for advice where necessary, has really helped me to navigate through these challenges. Also, in some cases where I need to also seek out knowledge on my own, probably even using existing solutions that solve similar problems as a case study to understand how this has been done before. Because really, there's really nothing new. It just depends on how much you are able to translate what you've seen into something better.
You have hired and mentored engineers. So let's talk about the one red flag that you spot in interviews and the green flag that you probably spot.
I think I'll just go over the red flag first. Well, I think some most times when I'm performing the duties of recruitment, and I get the opportunity to interview a potential employee or the candidate. One thing I try to look out for is I try to make sure I look for someone who um, is nonchalant about the vision of what we are building. Because these days we see engineers that just want to kind of like do their job, which is not bad, do their job and get paid. But really, to scale product and to make real impacts, most times you need to become a part of the vision yourself. You need to believe in the vision of the product itself, because that's money alone can't drive you like that. Sometimes passion is what you always fall back to when you are out of option. Remembering what you set out to do with the product, remembering what the product is supposed to achieve. So I always try to avoid people that I see, people I think are just they just want to get a job doing. They just want to be a software engineer. They just want to get their salary, get paid, and go. So I look more towards people that are very interested in what we are the problem we are solving, whatever product it is, whatever problem that product is solving. People that are really ready to get their hands dirty to become a part of this vision. So I kind of like stay for people that are nonchalant towards the product vision. Then when it comes to green flag, I think I kind of like tilt more towards people I sense have potential or actually take ownership their of their job, really, kind of. So they really don't need someone to tell them what to do every now and then. They are able to use intuition to drive a lot of things, and also they don't just so like I said, just sense of ownership in short, really. And what that translates is that you don't have to always remind them of what they are supposed to do. They know what they are supposed to do without having to breathe down their neck. They are able to do these things without you chasing after them every now and then.
You have many tools in your stack as a senior engineer now. So tell us one tool in your stack you can't live without and why.
Well, for someone who does front end, I really don't think you have so much option and to just stick with JavaScript, which is essentially what powers most of what you do. So with JavaScript, you kind of like have almost all of what you need. Yeah, so it's just going to be JavaScript.
Tell us the best way to find engineering mentors. Is it deck or DMs?
Well, I would say both, really, but maybe um, for different reasons, really. So for instance, for DMs, maybe I would maybe tilt more towards DMs, really, and it has to come with it has to be, how do I put this? It has to be specific, really. And maybe I will share that once I'm done with what I'm about to say. So for BMs, it just gives you that personal, you're able to provide more context, and you can have a personal connection with whoever you are looking up to as your mentor. Like there's a one-on-one thing going on there, right? So that's where like real progress happen through conversations, sharing trade-off, failures or stuff like that, and then even get encouragement at the right time. So it doesn't always have to maybe be formal, really. It could just be through DMs, but it's just that one thing about DMs is that it needs to like be done right. Yeah. So not when it comes to reaching out to mentors as a mentee, you should it should come with intent, right? Right from the first message, whoever you are reaching out to as to be your mentor should have an idea of what you want, what you've done so far, and how do you like them to help you, because you don't want them wanting to help you figure out what you need from them. You know what you need. Oh, your name is so. This is what you've done over the years. This is what you are looking to do over the next coming years, and this is how I would want you to help me. So the mentor knows from right on if there's something they can take on or they can't take on, and it helps drive clarity. So I think I would just go with DMs, really.
Let's talk about your project, your open source project on African states and tribes. What inspired it?
I think, like most of us know, Africa is quite undocumented, where maybe not as documented as we want it to be. And you even be surprised that when you get to some parts in the West, some people still think like Africa is the most continent with number of countries, and then you have people still thinking Africa is just a single continent. So like I said, Africa is very undocumented, and I was building a product at that time, and then I needed some form of data, but I couldn't really get some of this data because, especially when it comes to like cultural part of Africa, I think we've more or less been we've been taught to like do away with them in a way, at least not probably consciously or subconsciously. We just find ourselves doing away with them, and then with time, some of this knowledge are being lost with time, and then there's really no so much documentation as there should be. So this drove me to work on the project, and then and also share with those that are interested. I will just wrap it up with by saying that the um, Africa being so much undocumented, a lot of things that people should be knowing about Africa that they don't know because there is not enough documentation to show them how beautiful the continent is.
With the rise of AI tools such as Copilot and Chat GPT, is traditional coding becoming obsolete or more valuable?
I would say more valuable, really, because I don't think we've gotten to that point yet. Maybe later in the future, but of now and in the nearest future, I think and I believe that AI has more or less come to complement rather than to replace. So we still need that human input and no. I think there's a trend going on right now which people call vibe coding, which essentially just allows you to try to build I said try to build products using AI and stuff like that as opposed to traditional way. So I would say it has made it more valuable because I see AI right now as more of a companion to building what I build. I think before now, sometimes there are some things I would natural that I try to do that would naturally take hours for me to do. But the fact that I have some of these tools at my disposal, especially stuff that are even repetitive sometimes, they don't really require so much technical ability, but they require a long time to do. So under a few minutes, I'm able to get some of these things done. So it has come to more or less make it valid because we still need that experience, that human experience to be able to build product. I don't think AI has gotten to the point where it can single-handedly cater for technical products. So right now, it's just more or less makes us valuable. And yeah, I would say learning how to code is still very much relevant as of now.
If you were mentoring a junior dev today, would you teach them how to code or how to prompt?
I will teach them how to code because um, understanding how to code in itself would help you understand how to prompt better. Take it for instance now, I'm someone who does front end full time, but I have some experience doing back end. So the fact that I have knowledge about building stuffs on the back end that kind of like keeps me informed when it comes to relating with backend engineers. Even sometimes when I'm trying to build a product and I feel like it's not going the right way it's supposed to, I'm able to share my expertise, my knowledge regarding backend as to, oh, why can't we do it this way? Because I understand the way it works. So that's simply the same thing that happened here. To teaching them how to code, on let them understand how coding itself works. It's until you understand how coding itself works that's when you can know what to prompt because you can't just start prompting without really understanding the foundation, which is what coding will give you, understanding the foundation of how things work, what makes things work, and stuff like that. So I would teach them how to code instead of how to prompt really.
You have indirectly told us that you use AI. So, how are you personally using these AI tools in your workflow at Prosper?
Personally, for me, I do for my own development. I use ChatGPT often, and then I also use Cursor as well, which is a code editor for that is built on AI. So for me, it helps me solve. Sometimes there are some repetitive operations I need to do, or there are some script I need to write. Not like the fact that I can't write them, but having to write them is just going to take some of my time. So why can't I just delegate that to a system that can help me do that? And then what's supposed to take me 30 minutes, is taking me few seconds or a minute, which allows me to move faster and ship my product faster. So for me, personally, I do more of like ChatGPT and Cursor, and then for the products we build, stuff like GitHub Copilot really works helps as well.
What skills will be more valuable in the coming years, like 5 years or 10 years? Is it writing code or architecting systems?
I would say architecting system because, like we all know, ChatGPT and several other AI solutions out there already write code. So what would really help us stand apart is being able to architect system, being able to understand trade-offs, being able to understand how it should be built. At this point, um, AI hasn't really kind of like covered that particular area. So right now, writing code, just writing code alone might not cut it, but being able to understand how you can architect a system that would be scalable, that would provide um, optimal performance, would be more valuable to just writing code.
Let's talk about the junior dev that have vision that one day they will become senior engineers or lead teams. So, what mindset would you advise them to have?
My first advice would be for them to develop a passion if they haven't already, because I know a lot of people are coming into tech for the glamour. Oh yeah, the yeah about the numerous opportunity, the flexibility, and so on and so forth. But to be frank, those stuffs would die off after a while, and so you need a passion to actually drive you to get to the pinnacle of your career, really, because whatever passion drives seems to work really as long as you have a passion. So if you don't have a passion for the industry, for what we are solving or for the problems that we are trying to solve, and no, I think developing a passion would really go a long way. So that's one. And then secondly, as well, I would advise them to focus on to shut out the noise really, and have a focus. These days there are a lot of tools, there are a lot of, in fact, with the fact that we even have AI on the rise, there are now a lot of AI tools aside from the traditional programming tools that we have, or stacks that we have. So having to pick a niche, what you want to focus on, would really help you, because you don't want to find yourself doing a lot of abandoned learning. Today you are learning Python, tomorrow they say machine and they say JavaScript is the best. You jump on JavaScript, and then they say is this is that. Then you find yourself jumping with a lot of abandoned tutorial, a lot of abandoned project as well. So being able to focus, if you want to focus on one, I think I so much believe in focusing on one thing. So if you've mastered it, then you can try to diversify. So being a master at just one thing really helps than being trying to be a jack of all trades. You can have idea because they would help you as to how to understand how that part works. But in terms of picking like settling for a niche, I think is very important. Understanding what field you want to go for. Then when you decided on that, understanding what technology or tools or stack you want to use in that field, because that is also very important because there are a lot of options. So just shut out all the noise, all the new fancy stuff that are out there. Focus on problem solving.
What advice would you give to young people who wants to read computer science and lean towards being a front end engineer?
I don't think the syllabus has changed so much. So my advice is maybe something I would have also given 5 years back, is to understand. I think it's a lot of people don't. Well, maybe now it's beginning to become clearer, but some people still don't really understand what the field itself entails, especially around this part of the world. They really don't understand the technical requirement, or whatever what you need to give to it to actually become successful at it. So when it comes to giving advice, I would tell them to understand why you want to study. So studying computer science, even though in this part of the world we understand things are the way they are, but understanding why you want to study, which is having a passion for actually working in digital technology, and not just studying because you want to get a BSc. If you want to get a BSc, I think our advice is to just go for a regular course that will just give you a BSc. But because I see no point why studying computer science and then you really can do stuff in tech, probably be the technical or non-technical parts. probably writing code, design, product management, project engineer, and product manager and stuff like that. Yeah. So just you have to do something because we have people that are not studied, that didn't even study computer science, and they are working in tech. They are making with a lot of them, and most of them are just self-taught or probably went for a diploma somewhere. So understanding that you have to do the hard work first comes in first. Then after which you now have to actually take deliberate action as to how you learn the skill. The skill is very important. And I think learning aside from now looking outside of all he has to offer you, in your career in the future as a tech professional. It even helps you while still in school. I remember while I was in school, I learned a lot of I learned how to code. I did a little bit of Java then and all. So this helped me when it comes to programming courses. So anytime we are in a semester where I have to take courses on programming, Java, C Sharp, C++, and so on and so forth. Like it's those courses come easy to me. Sometimes I don't even have to attend the classes because I understand the practical. Um, I have the practical knowledge, and when you have the practical knowledge, you don't have to cram anything. It's just like someone gives me a system now to write a code about something. I don't have to cram in my head how I would write it. I know how it works. All I just have to do is replicate what I'm going to do when I am supposed to do this. So it really helped me when it comes to those courses. I was able to make A's in most of these courses without having to stress myself. And like something I've always told people when I tell them I work in tech, they be like, "Oh, you study computer science, so that's straightforward. Now you work in tech." But then I'm like, it's actually the other way around. The fact that I studied computer science didn't really help my career as a software engineer. It's the other way around. The fact that I actually had the skill while I was in school helped me get better grades.
Thank you, Olamide, for coming on board, coming to share your story and the amazing work you do at Prosper.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was nice speaking with you as well.
Don't forget to like, share, and comment on our content on social media at Today Africa, and head over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel at Today Africa Studios.
Today Africa Podcast is a podcast series where we interview African entrepreneurs and professionals and share the stories behind their businesses. In each interview, we ask how they got started, how they grew, and how they run their business today. The stories are inspiring and also provide specific advice and insight into starting a business. By sharing these stories, we want to help others get started.